Something happened on center court that made 40,000 people go quiet at the exact same second. Sinner was down, not on the scoreboard, on the grass, blood on his sock, staring at his own foot like he didn't recognize it. And the question that shot through the stadium wasn't, will he win this point? It was bigger than that. What is actually happening to Jannik Sinner's body? Because this isn't a one-off. This is starting to look like a pattern. Is the world number one, the most ruthless, controlled player of the last 2 years, starting to physically break down in real time? That's what fans are asking right now, after watching their favorite go from cruising, to bleeding, to barely surviving, all in the space of 3.5 hours. Here's the thing. If this was the first sign, you could call it bad luck. It's not the first sign. Sinner came into this tournament with Carlos Alcaraz already out injured with a wrist problem, so the draw opened up for him. But Sinner himself arrived carrying his own baggage. A month earlier, he suffered a shocking second-round exit at Roland Garros to Juan Manuel Cerundolo, a result nobody saw coming. That ended a 30-match winning streak that had been running since March. And it wasn't just a loss. Sinner has now dealt with cramps and heat-related issues multiple times this year, in that French Open defeat, and again back in January, when he suffered severe cramping in a third-round win at the Australian Open. That's 3 Grand Slams in a row where his body has made headlines for the wrong reasons. Not his forehand, not his serve, his body. If you want every Sinner match broken down like this for the rest of the tournament, subscribe now. We're posting daily through to the final. Now let's get into exactly what happened today, because it's worse than the headlines made it sound. Sinner opened play on center court as the defending champion, his traditional slot, against Miomir Kekmanovic, the world number 50 from Serbia. On paper, this should not have been close. Sinner had beaten Kekmanovic 4 times before without losing a set. But Sinner committed 52 unforced errors in this match, a number that, for a player of his precision, is almost unheard of. He went down 2-1. He lost the first set, found his rhythm to take the second, then dropped a tight third set tiebreak. And it was during that stretch, chasing the match, under real pressure for the first time at this tournament, that his body started giving out the warning signs everyone's now talking about. Sinner suffered 2 separate falls on center court during the match. After one of them, blood began seeping through his white shoe, visibly worsening as the match went on, while commentators on air openly questioned what they were watching. And here's the part that should genuinely worry people. Sinner showed no reaction to it. He never called for the trainer. He never asked for a medical timeout. He just kept playing through it. He eventually fought back to win in 5 sets, over 3 hours and 30 minutes. So what did Sinner actually say about it? Because, like always, it's worth hearing in his words before drawing conclusions. One fall is a tough one because you can get injured, but it is the most normal thing, Sinner said. Grass court is like this, especially the first couple of matches when the grass is very new, you slip a little bit more. I got lucky there because things can go wrong very quickly. And on the blood that had every commentator and every fan watching in disbelief, Sinner brushed it off entirely, telling reporters it was just a nail issue. I'm good, he said. It just seems much worse than it is. He joked he was surprised officials let him keep playing given the strict all-white dress code at Wimbledon. He didn't even change his shoes mid-match, not wanting to break the rhythm he and Kekmanovic had built. That's either remarkable composure or remarkable denial. You decide. But it wasn't all deflection. Sinner was actually candid about the part that should matter more to his team than a bloody toenail. His game wasn't there. I felt the first couple of sets there were a lot of mistakes from the forehand side, he admitted, saying he needed real improvements before his next match. He also spoke about the emotional weight of the day itself, describing real nerves walking down the stairs onto center court as defending champion, calling it a very different feeling from any other match he plays. That's not the language of a robot who doesn't feel pressure. That's a champion admitting out loud that something is sitting heavier on him than usual. Now here's where it gets more serious. This wasn't Sinner just rolling into Wimbledon off a normal stretch of matches. After his loss in Paris, Sinner made the decision to skip all 3 weeks of grass court tune-up events leading into Wimbledon, a now familiar pattern for him in recent years. Instead, he spent that time back home in Italy, including time specifically set aside for health testing, before arriving early in London to get used to the grass. Think about that. The world number one didn't think a normal pre-Wimbledon schedule was the priority. Recovery and health testing were. That's not something you do unless something is actually being monitored. Sinner now moves on to face Portugal's Nuno Borges in round 2 on Wednesday, a player he's beaten once before, on hard courts, 4 years ago. On paper, he's the heavy favorite again. But so was he today. So where does this actually leave us? Interpretation 1. This is what champions do. Sinner came into Monday having not won a match since late May, off the most shocking loss of his career, and still found a way to grind out a 5-set win, fist-pumping his box, smiling at the end of it. Bodies bleed, players slip, the grass is new, and he still walked off the winner. That's not decline. That's a champion absorbing a bad day and finding a way anyway. Interpretation 2. You don't get this many separate physical incidents, cramps in January, cramps in May, a shocking exit in Paris, 2 falls and a bleeding foot in round 1 of Wimbledon, without something deeper going on. Add in a quietly arranged stretch of health testing before the tournament even started, and this starts looking less like bad luck and more like a body that's been sending distress signals all year that everyone's only now starting to take seriously. What can't be argued is this. He is 2 matches away from history, trying to become just the 10th man ever to win back-to-back Wimbledon titles, and he is doing it bleeding through his shoe in round 1. So tell me, is Jannik Sinner's body finally catching up to him after 2 years of carrying the entire sport on his back? Or is this just one rough day from a champion who's about to remind everyone exactly why he's number 1? Drop your prediction in the comments. I'll be reading every one of them before Wednesday's